Welcome to This Week from Blue Mountain Broadcasting. I'm so glad that you've tuned into the show today. I'm your host, Lynelle Ellis, and we have a great show lined up for you. I'm going to be talking with our station manager, Lowell Mann, about his trip to NAB, and you're going to have to stay tuned to find out what NAB stands for. But this was an amazing adventure, very important to the station and to our progress forward, so you'll want to stay tuned for that. And some additional station news, too, at the end of the program. Let's begin now, though, with our devotional thought. Have you observed any children lately? Perhaps you have your own children or your own grandchildren, and they are precious to you, aren't they? Every week, I get to watch a group of adorable children make their way to the front of the church sanctuary for the children's story. And there is really something wonderful about little children. This week, I read a devotional from The Chosen, 40 Days with Jesus, that spoke to my heart and reminded me about why Jesus wants us to spiritually be like little children. And I'd like to share that devotional with you. We're starting with Mark chapter 10, verses 13 and 14. People were bringing little children to Jesus for him to place his hands on them. But the disciples rebuked them. When Jesus saw this, he was indignant. He said to them, "Let the little children come to me and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of God belongs to such as these." Sometimes the disciples were ridiculous. No doubt some of the children who were brought to Jesus needed to be healed. The whole point was for Jesus to lay hands on them, something parents of sick kids would be desperate for him to do. So not only were the disciples saying no to kids coming forward, but they were likely saying no to sick kids as well. Not exactly a make-a-wish moment. And Jesus was indignant, which revealed his heart toward them. To keep Jesus from precious little people, to hinder access to him in any way, provoked his righteous anger. Because not only were the children vulnerable and in need, they were the exact representation of those he came to save. The kingdom of God belongs to such as these. Children are simple. They're appropriately awestruck by the world around them. They're wide-eyed and expectant and moldable and trusting. By nature, they aren't jaded or judgmental. Those qualities come with age, along with self-focus, self-reliance, self-protection, self-promotion, and self-praise. On the contrary, children, most of them anyway, are willing to defer and to receive, to climb into the Savior's lap and be cared for, to be led and loved on. The children approach to Jesus in a way we're supposed to emulate. Truly, I tell you, anyone who will not receive the kingdom of God like a little child will never enter it. And he took the children in his arms, placed his hands on them, and blessed them. Mark 10, 15 and 16. Jesus rebuked the disciples for putting restrictions on access to him, and the same goes for us. Our preconceived ideas about how relationship with God works and our lofty opinions about how it should work restrict our ability to receive all he has for us. Our religious merit systems restrict us. We'd rather earn our way into his lap. Our disappointments, bitterness, and defensiveness restrict us. Our shame and guilt and insecurity restrict us. Our pride in our appearance and accomplishments restricts us. Our desire to control our lives restricts us. All of it keeps us from coming unhindered to the one who counts us as precious. The children went to Jesus without anything of value to offer him, except their love and excitement to be there. He wanted to spend time with them, hug them, and heal them. He wanted to. And we are precious to Jesus too when we recognize our need for his help, when we're willing to defer, to receive, to be led, and to be loved on. We're precious when we come to Jesus with the simple expectation that because of who he is and how he loves, we're welcome, wanted, forgiven, and will be restored. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Joining me now is our station manager, Lowell Mann, and Lowell is here to talk about something very specific today, the NAB. And we always just throw out that term, the NAB, the NAB. What is it?
Yeah, we all know what NAB means, but maybe the viewers don't. It's National Association of Broadcasters. And it's a convention held in Las Vegas every single year. And all sorts of vendors come from all different walks of life, really, when you talk about the broadcast world. If it's in the broadcast world, from cameras to editing software to transmitters, encoders, you name it. If they're in the broadcast world in any way, shape, or form, they are at NAB.
Yeah, National Association of Broadcasters. So the term does tell us this is a big national organization.
It is.
And it's huge. I've been to NAB a couple of times myself. It's been a few years. But there's a reason why it's held in Las Vegas, maybe not our favorite town, but why is it held there?
Because it is the largest convention center in the United States, and there's over 1 million square feet of exhibit space that the vendors are using, and so
NAB fills it up.
It fills it up, a good chunk of it.
Yeah.
They've had in the past Central Hall, which has been the largest hall, North Hall, and South Hall, upper and lower. It's now they've built the West Hall, which is an addition. So this year, all of it was in the West Hall, the South Hall, and not the South Hall, excuse me. It was West, Central, and North. They left out the South Hall this year because usually that's been where a lot of like Adobe and all those people are.
But Adobe was there?
They were there.
Okay, and Adobe is a company that we're very familiar with editing software.
Yeah. They do our editing software, and I sat on several seminars that they had talking about the new features in Adobe Premiere and their collaboration now with another company called Frame.io, which I don't want to get into all of the probably boring details for our viewers, but it was exciting to see how that collaboration is working.
Pardon me. So how many of you from the station actually went to NAB?
So there was 5 of us. There was Keith Carlin, Jim Forsyth, Jerry Bobbitt, Zach Sweeney, our new broadcast engineer, and myself. So
a big group.
It was a good sized group. I think this is the most. Usually we send 2, maybe 4 at the top. This year we decided to send all 5 of us.
Well, it's been a while since you could go to NAB.
Yes, it has, because of COVID. 2019 and the 2020 show got canceled. They were going to try and do it.
You mean 20 and 21 maybe?
Yeah, I meant 2021. Yeah. You're absolutely right. 2019 was the last one that they had actually there in Vegas, and they were planning both those years to try and do it, but it just
didn't
because
happen.
Of safety concerns and all of that, it just didn't happen.
So this was really a chance to get back and find out what's happening with some of that equipment. I think we should point out that it's one thing to, look at an online catalog and read a description and even talk on the phone with a representative from a company, but it's so much nicer to be able to actually see the product, how it works, see those demonstrations, and this is really kind of the only chance to do that.
And we've developed relationships. The guy, our representative for Fujinon, which is a lens maker for cameras, I know him. And so I got to meet and chat with him a little bit, and we set up a meeting, and he's like, how about noon on Tuesday? I was like, sure. He's like, you know what, we can go have a lunch meeting. So the two of us went and had lunch and talked about the project that we're working on moving, and what we're going to need for lenses and all those types of things. So it's really fun to see these people. I've seen most years they've had an Adventist Meetup. So all of the people that work in Adventist media, from It Is Written to Voice of Prophecy, 3ABN, Hope Channel, all of them have got together, and we've had a meal at a buffet in the evening. They didn't do that this year, but it's been good to collaborate with them. I saw a few of those individuals.
Hopefully that will happen next year.
Yeah, hopefully
I know,
next
so
year.
the turnout for NAB in general was probably a little bit down.
Yeah, it was a little bit down, and it was really interesting looking at the studio space, or the floor.
Convention space.
The convention space, that's the word I was looking for. A lot of, like I mentioned, Fujinon, they usually have a good sized big booth and they bring a whole bunch of stuff. Well, their booth was a lot smaller than it has been in the past. Even I was looking at tripods from Miller.
Yes.
It's another company.
A big tripod company.
We had to go to another booth to look at one of the pedestals because he didn't have it on his space because there wasn't
enough room.
There wasn't enough room. What they do is all the lens makers sends all the lenses to all the cameras and the tripods. So their stuff is spread out all over the convention floor.
So would you say from your experience then that after 2 years of not meeting at all in person, the vendors, the companies that sell these things were a little scaled back on what they were willing to invest in presenting?
Yeah, they were scaled back because they weren't sure exactly what the turnout was going to be.
Yeah.
It certainly was less than it has been in past years, but it was still, I think, a pretty good, decent
Thousands
turnout.
of people, right?
Thousands of people, yeah.
Yes. It's a huge convention. It's hard for me to emphasize enough, to our viewers, how big it really is. If they're thinking convention and conventions they've gone to for various reasons, this is bigger. It's huge.
Like if somebody's been to ASI, they've got booth space 100 times that.
Yeah, at least.
At least.
Yeah, really, really big. And I think that you all had sort of your list, right? Each of was this 5 or 6 people that went?
It was 5. There was
5.
5 of us.
Each of the 5 of you who went had your list of what to research, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like I was looking at cameras, looking at tripods, and lighting, studio lighting. That was the main thing I was looking at. And the other guys weren't so much interested in that, so everybody was kind of off on their own.
Some of those engineering types we have working with us are really looking at the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, they're looking at the encoders, and we did make a visit. All 5 of us made a visit to our automation system company to kind of pick their brain a little bit. And so it's really good. I think one of the things is developing these relationships, like I mentioned earlier, and talking with them, getting feedback of how things are working, being able to get knowledge for how the equipment we currently have, what we can do, how we can stretch it and make it work even better than it has been in the past.
There is something so valuable about actually being there, shaking hands with the representatives, meeting with them like you had lunch with one, having the opportunity to be in person with those people that work at the companies goes so far. Then when you call up or you email, they're like, Lowell, we know him.
Yeah,
we've
ready developed the relationship. So then when you do call, it's like, oh yeah, like you said, I know him. We can.
Yeah, they're just ready to help, and the understanding is so much better, and it's just great to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So you don't know everything the other 4 were researching.
I know it was a lot of encoders and all sorts of stuff.
Stuff
in
that
range that I'm not quite familiar with.
We'll let them deal with those details.
And I know Zach told me he did 1 haul per day that we were there, and he went up and down, and if anything
was interesting,
he would sit there and talk with them.
Wow, so he was really doing some serious research.
I think he finally got to the entire show from what he told me.
Amazing.
He was a little tight on time the last day, because the last day it ends at 2:00.
Yes.
And then we had to get to the airport to fly home, and we got back Thursday at 1:30 in the morning.
Woo.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an intense time. So just thinking of the convention space itself, there was something new this year, right?
Yes,
that you had never experienced before?
I learned about it a little bit too late, but I was able to use it the last day. So I mentioned South Hall, Central, North, West. I mean, it's
a lot
spread
of
out.
space. Yes.
I was looking at my thing. I did 23,000 steps on the first day, and 18 to 20,000 the next couple of days. So that's a lot of walking.
Yes.
So what they did is they bore a big tunnel underneath the entire convention center.
Whoa.
Large enough to fit a car, and then they had fleets, or a fleet of Teslas that you could go down. Didn't cost anything.
It was free.
It was free. You could ride a Tesla to the other
end of the convention center.
Wow.
What do they call that?
What do they call it? They call it the Vegas Loop.
The Vegas Loop.
Because it's a loop underneath because it's
the
only
convention
one
center.
direction. The tunnel was big enough for one car, so there was two tunnels kind of parallel side by side. So it was pretty unique to, I can now say I've ridden in a Tesla.
Yes, and it almost
times.
is like, might be worth going to the convention just to go the Vegas Loop. I don't know.
Yeah, it was pretty unique.
That sounds a lot better than being up on the main Vegas Strip, for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure. So the benefits, you think, for Blue Mountain Television now, what did you all learn there that you're really bringing back? You're like, okay, this really helped. We know where we're going. We know what we want for equipment.
I know when you look at, like, you talk with Zach, he's like, oh, we need that. Oh, but it's $20,000, $30,000. Oh, we need this piece of equipment. It would do this. Great. Another $20,000, $30,000. I mean, it gets super expensive.
Yes.
Looking at, cameras, if you want to go 4K,
Yes.
it gets super expensive. There were
Which we might want to because
Yeah.
we know we're just going HD finally.
Finally, yeah.
But we know that much of the broadcast world and definitely the production world is already 4K. So
Yeah. And it was interesting to me is talking with a lot of the camera companies. They make HD cameras that you can upscale to 4K.
that's a good option.
It's a good option, but I think personally a 4K native imager is
better.
probably a bit better. Talking with Josh on the lenses, he said, if you're doing a 4K camera, you're going to want 4K lenses.
Yes.
Which he thinks about 20% more than an HD lens. And so
you learned about a lot of those things. That's
Yeah.
going to help us set budget for the equipment that we need in the new facility.
yeah.
And I know that we all feel passionately about two things: using the money that God has gifted to us really well, and number two, also doing whatever we do for Him and His kingdom really well.
Yeah.
So having the best equipment to do that with is important to us.
And we want to be stewards of the funds that have been donated.
Absolutely. And
And-
will be donated because certainly we're going to need more.
We're going to need more, unfortunately. And so putting all that together, trying to figure it all out can be tricky.
Well, I'm so glad that you had lots of brains there together at NAB looking at this. And we have some brilliant people on our volunteer team plus our paid team.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fun thing is you get back in the evening and we're all conversing about what
you found.
What we found and how that fits. Well, maybe we should look into this or maybe we should look into that. And then I think I can't remember exactly what it was, but sometimes it was like, oh, I need to go. And so the next day
you could follow up.
You could follow up and go to a booth and get some more information from a different angle. So it was very, very valuable.
Really great. Well, I am so glad that we were able to send this team of 5 and to find out really important information for us. And thanks for giving us a good report about it, Lowell.
All right, you're welcome.
Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Time for station news. I've got things for you to put on your calendar. And if you've been watching the show the last several weeks, you already know the things I'm going to tell you to put on your calendar, but you might be tuning in for the first time. So get your pen or get your phone calendar and get ready to put these things in because they're really, really special and important events for Blue Mountain Television. First of all, our fundraiser, our spring fundraiser is coming May 16 and 17. So mark that on your calendar. This is going to be from 6 to 10 p.m. You will definitely be wanting to tune in to Blue Mountain Television during those times, 6 to 10 p.m. on May 16 and 17. You know, the spring fundraiser is so important to Blue Mountain Television's ministry. This is how we let you know about what's going on, how we generate the funds we need. We raise those funds that we need in order to keep the station on the air. It's absolutely vital. So not only should you watch, but you ought to invite a lot of other people to tune in and watch during the fundraiser too, so that they can become a part of supporting this ministry and enjoying the special programming during the fundraiser too. We're going to be showing you behind the scenes secrets of the secret life of the desert. So you will really want to hear what Daniel Biggs and Mike Denny have to say about the backstory to Secret Life of the Desert. And we are also going to be hearing from our guest musician, Simon Kowalski, and those videos, I know you've seen some clips here on this show, and they're fantastic. Really beautiful, and also feature a lot of those same environments, the deserts of the Northwest, that you are going to be seeing on our very special program that's coming to the station. So write it down, May 16 and 17, 6 to 10 p.m. Then here's another very important date, and also related to Secret Life of the Desert. It's the premiere in 4K on May 22 at the Gesa Power House Theater. You want to get your tickets. You should buy a ticket in advance. There are show times at 3 and 7 p.m., so you can pick which one of those you would like, and then purchase your tickets at bmt.tv/tickets. The tickets are $10, so really affordable, but also help Blue Mountain Television to offset the cost of using this beautiful facility at the Powerhouse. And this is the best place that we could premiere this series, because the Powerhouse has a very, very large and wonderful screen and the ability not only to broadcast in high definition, but in 4K. So you are going to see the Secret Life of the Desert in its most beautiful and pristine format. So definitely get that ticket for either 3 o'clock or 7 o'clock on May 22. Again, it's at bmt.tv/tickets to purchase your ticket for one of those times and get your seat reserved. What else do I want to tell you about? You just heard a great report from Lowell, our station manager, about the technical group's trip to the NAB, National Association of Broadcasters in Las Vegas. They have learned so many good and important things that are going to be helpful for us here at this ministry by going to that convention. So we're grateful to them for going, for using their brains to absorb as much as they could while they were there. And we're excited about the plans that they will now make for how we can use the technology in the very best way, in the best stewardship way as well, to have a great picture and great quality here at Blue Mountain Television, and especially as we move toward our new facility and purchasing the equipment that we will need there, that we do the very best we can with that. So grateful for them for the investment they made by going to that convention. And grateful to you, because you've already made some investments that help them to travel there, that have helped them to glean the information they need, and have helped us to buy equipment in the past. And now as we look forward, we really need you to invest again as we try to outfit the new facility with the right equipment that it really should have, so that we can do the very best we can for God's kingdom with a high standard in our production. As we create new programs there at the new facility, we want them to look the very best they can. So a couple of things from you. One, maybe three things from you. Number one, please pray as we are wanting to move this project forward to the new facility. We need your prayers. We need to feel God's Spirit moving and helping people to support that move over there, and for us to stay in His will about everything that we do with it. So your prayers, really important. Number two, your gifts toward our move to the facility are absolutely essential, and we need some special gifts. We have a little bit of money on hand, but we need much, much more in order to be able to do the purchases that we need to get the equipment we need, make the modifications to the building we are still needing to make, and make our move over there. We really want to see this project move forward, so we need your special gifts for that project right now as well. And number three, you probably have some ideas in your mind about what kind of shows you would like to see on Blue Mountain Television. Here we are moving to this new facility. We'll have much more space and much more opportunity to create things both in studio and outside of studio. We are asking for your feedback. What would you like to see on the station? What kind of show would really be interesting to you and that you feel we should be doing? So if you could send those ideas to us at the station, you can send your ideas to our manager. And we'll put that email on the screen so that you can send those ideas to him, and we can start collecting some good thoughts that will help us generate great programming as we have the opportunity to at our new place. So again, thanks for watching the show. Thank you for the support that you give to it, both for our operating budget and our new project. And we appreciate your prayers immensely as well. I'll see you next time.